What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am excited to talk some New York freaking Jets football as they are taking on the Atlanta Falcons, baby. Just things you absolutely love to see. Atlanta Falcons, New York Jets. Desmond Ridder versus Tim Boyle. How can you not get excited for that one? Oh, goodness gracious. We have a ton to get into in this lovely pregame. We start with my picks for today. So if you don't know, I work with Underdog Fantasy, and it is so much fun. If you sign up using my code, they will give you a 100% match deposit bonus up to $100. My 3 picks, $10 to win 60. Breece Hall, higher than 4 receptions. Desmond Ridder, higher than 15.5 rushing yards. And Jeremy Ruckert, higher than 8.5 receiving yards, excuse me. I think if Jeremy Ruckert gets 1 catch, he hits that number. I think if Breece Hall is utilized how we all expect him to in this game with how much Tim Boyle checks the ball down, that is also something that should be hit. And Desmond Ridder, not a huge running quarterback, but I think enough to the point where it's worthwhile to take a shot in it. I saw a question already from our guy, Dave from New Brunswick. What time are the inactives usually posted? Well, good news. I got them for you right here. So Mekhi Becton makes his return to the lineup. That is positive news. Mekhi Becton is back. Randall Cobb, Billy Turner, Austin Delicious. It's not really delicious, but that's what we're calling him. Zaire Barnes, Carl Lawson, Bryce Hall, and Zach Wilson is the emergency quarterback. So what does that mean for the Jets? A few things. A new offensive line combination for this game. I'll give you the starting combo, what it's expected to be. Zach Rosenblatt tweeted it out. It is expected to be Mekhi Becton at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Joe Tippmann at center. He's been really solid the last few weeks at center. Wes Schweitzer at right guard, and Carter Warren over at right tackle. He makes the switch from the left side over to the right side. He has, let's be honest, folks, been better than Max Mitchell. So far this season, I think Max Mitchell has really struggled in pass protection. Carter Warren's been okay through his first couple of games against a couple tough opponents. Wes Schweitzer comes back at right guard. He's missed the last few games. He was, brought back off of IR. Joe Tippmann at center. Excited about Joe Tippmann. I think that's a building block future piece. I think the Jets have found their long-term starting center. And Laken Tomlinson and Mekhi Becton team up on that left side, which has been probably the Jets' best side of the offensive line. So I'm excited for this new line combination. I think it's one that, like, if you're looking at it, we always talk about you got to get the best 5 out there. And I think the Jets are doing that by having Becton, Tomlinson, Tippmann, Schweitzer, and Carter Warren out there on the field against the Atlanta Falcons. So new starting lineup out there on the offensive line. Let's say hello to the people in the chat. Can't wait, says Dakota. Dakota, thank you for joining us as always. Ant Jets 82, good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. Junio is saying we here. 7 level says, let's go Jets, don't mess this up today. This feels like a winnable game, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this feels like one that's winnable. I have a hard time picking the Jets until they prove they could score touchdowns, but it does feel like a much more winnable game. Thank you so much, Mr. McMoney. Appreciate the stream. 80B says, LMAO, love the intro, Matt. A nice reminder that we're facing Desmond Ridder, and he's somehow the better quarterback between the two teams today. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Don't know how we got to this point, but we have. All right, let's show some video of some pregame stuff as well. We see Tim Boyle out on the field before the game, getting loose, throwing the football around. Yes, Tim Boyle is starting for the New York Jets today. He's tossing the pigskin around. We have Ali comes in, says use play action on first down. The pass sets up the run. That's a wise decision. I am in, by the way. I am in on that logic. I am in on that idea. Let's hope the Jets are as well, because unfortunately, as we all know too well, Nathaniel Hackett hasn't been a great play caller for the Jets this year, unfortunately. I wanted to show the video of Aaron Rodgers' arrival. So let's pop that up on the screen. Here we go. It's quick. Pop that in. Aaron Rodgers in the building, walking good, not active. Obviously, he is out. The Jets open his 21-day window. We got a report from Ian Rappaport earlier today saying that it's unlikely he will play in a game this year, especially if the Jets are out of it. He's walking pretty good, which again is a good sign, and I'm glad to see him out there on the practice field. But I do think at this point it's a long shot to see him on the field. Oh, good one from Junio. I don't know if you talk about it, but did you touch the Jamal Adams, Connor Hughes spat? Yeah, I did catch it. Quickly, I think it is absolutely horrible that Jamal Adams brought Connor Hughes' wife into the picture on this one. He being Connor Hughes. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather today. So if you see me blowing my nose or wiping my nose, I know that's gross on screen, but I'm doing my best. I'm to power through this. I'm a little under the weather. But Jamal Adams, Connor Hughes had a legit criticism of Jamal Adams on the field. And then Jamal Adams tweets a picture of Connor's wife. That's incredibly low. Some players are just way too sensitive. That's the right word to use, sensitive, about their getting criticized. And that's not to say they don't get unfairly criticized. And do some fans mostly take it too far? Yeah, I think I don't think you should be adding anyone on Twitter and being like in their DMs and mentions and saying like horrific things. But I don't think, a quote tweet saying yikes about you getting a touchdown caught over your head justifies you attacking that person's wife and family. Is just terrible. Jamal Adams is trash. I'm glad he's not a Jet anymore. King Jamie the Mad. Hi, Matt. Just wanted to say go Jets. Chiefs fan here, and I got you Jets fans back. Now let's see the Jets win out and somehow make the playoffs. King Jamie, my favorite resident Chiefs fan. He is always in the mix here, always getting involved in our streams. As I said, favorite Chiefs fan. We got some fans from other fan bases out here. And, for Kansas City, I think they are winning this week. They have a game tonight at 8:20 in Lambeau. Great matchup. Chiefs-Packers is old school football matchup. I think they take care of business on the road in Lambeau. NY Jets has any opinion on the college football playoffs? Yes, I claim a casual, I'm not a diehard fan. So when I list my fans, the teams that I'm a fan of, do I really list them? No, I'm a Jets, Islanders, and Mets fan. But I am a casual Texas Longhorn supporter, and I do think that they deserve to be in. I would go Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Florida State, although I think Alabama gets in over Florida State. Matthew says Jets score 10 points today. In my pregame predictions, right? Obviously I did my pregame stuff in my preview. I predicted the Jets to score exactly 10 points. I think this is a 16-10 game. If the Jets find a way to score 17 or more points, I think they win this game. The Jets have not scored more than 13 points in over a month. It's been a long time. The last 5 games, they have not scored over 13 points. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. So I don't have it in me to predict more than that. Yep. John S. Lazard is playing. Alan Lazard is back. That's not really all that surprising when you consider what Robert Saleh was saying earlier in the week about Alan Lazard. I think it was more of a punishment thing for just his play, and again, deserved it. But I didn't view Alan Lazard as someone who was going to be inactive the rest of the season and then inactive all of next year and then cut. Like, he is going to be here next year because of how his contract is structured. And I think this is a move to try to get him back on track. Now, he's been extremely underwhelming, and I don't think it's fair to expect him to be your wide receiver 2 on a good team. But I do think that he's not as bad as what he is playing right now. Can he be a serviceable wide receiver 3 on this team next year? I hope so. I think he has the talent to do it. I thought in Green Bay, drops are always kind of part of his game, but he was much better in the red zone with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. And he is a really, really good run blocker. And we know the identity of this Jets offense is they want to be able to run the football. So he's just been really, really, really bad this year. There's no sugarcoating it, but I do think that, this is a guy that you want to try to get back on track because you don't really have a choice. Like, he is going to be here next year, and I don't think you could afford to just have him scratched the entire way. Blitz Crew, what's going on, dude? Blitz Crew chimes in. Appreciate you joining us today. Says, might have missed it. Where is Carter Warren today? Carter Warren is playing at right tackle. I'll pop up on the screen again. The New York Jets expected offensive line in this game: Mekhi Becton at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Joe Tippmann starting at center, Wes Schweitzer starting at right guard, and Carter Warren starting at right tackle. Dwayne Brown is not expected to start. And truly, I do think that this is the best five the Jets could put out there, and the best offensive line the Jets have had probably since the beginning of that Eagles game. No, I strike that. I'm sorry. I apologize. The best offensive line since going into the Denver game. Obviously, AVT goes down in that Denver game, and the Jets offense goes off the rails for a second year in a row. It truly is unfortunate just how much AVT impacts this offense. And it's a good thing because when he's on the field, we know he's a damn good player, but they have been absolutely horrible. If you look at the splits with and without AVT, I could pull it up actually. I tweeted it out earlier in the week. I was shocked to see how drastic it was. Okay, here we go. It's ugly, but Elijah Vera Tucker, with him in 2022, 331 yards per game, 22.7 points per game. This year, 283 yards per game, 18.6 points per game. Without AVT, 309 yards per game and 13.7 points per game. That is a 9-point swing. That is insane. A 9-point swing in 2022. And then in 2023, essentially a 7-point swing and a 40-yard difference per game. Wild. But all things considered, I think from left to right, this is the Jets' best offensive line they put out on the field in a pretty long time this season. No, Josh, you're definitely not. He says, am I the only person hoping Boyle gets pulled for Trevor at the half? I would rather see Trevor Siemian. I don't know if the Jets are going to go to Trevor Siemian. Boy Green tweeted something out as a quote from Rich Cimini's podcast. Again, this is from Rich Cimini. So let's just pop this up on the screen. He says, don't expect to see Trevor Siemian as the Jets starting quarterback anytime soon. Quote, the fact of the matter is, while you might not think Tim Boyle is very good, I can tell you that this coaching staff simply has a much lesser regard for Trevor Siemian. So I think you're going to see Boyle for the foreseeable future. That is a sad statement. Number one, if Trevor Siemian is really that bad, why bring him in? But number two, the caveat is, unfortunately, I don't know how much stock I put into this staff or this regime's evaluation of talent of their own roster. I think they've mishandled things on this roster all year. I mean, we've yelled and screamed about CJ Uzama getting less reps for Jeremy Rucker. We talked about Bryce Huff needing to play more, and he finally does, and he's one of the best edge rushers in football. There's many examples. We talked about Alan Lazard getting less reps. Mekhi Becton at left tackle. Joe Tippmann needing to come in and start for this team. They are very, very slow at reacting to these things. And, this might be a mismanagement there, or it could be that he is just that bad, which then why do you bring him in? SG31 Black says, what up, Matt? What's going on? He is a member of the channel. If you want to join and become a member as well, there's a button down below right next to where it says subscribe. You hit the join button. Big Green. Okay, here we go, Big Green. I need under 33 total. Brees over 27 receiving yards. Rucker over 10. Kuhn needs 7 points. And Zerline needs 2 field goals for $1,071 for a $10 bet. All right. That it's obviously it's long odds for a reason. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you a plus however many odds that is a lock to hit, because it's not. But I will say, I think some of those things are pretty likely to come through. I think it is going to be a low scoring game. So that's one. I do think Brees is very involved in the passing attack. I think Ruckert goes over 10 yards. Two of those things, by the way, is very similar to my plays for this game over on Underdog. I don't know if you're here at the start of the stream, but these are my 3 plays on Underdog. Brees Hall, more than 4 receptions. Desmond Ritter, higher than 15.5 rushing yards. And Jeremy Ruckert, higher than 8.5 receiving yards. So we're on very similar wavelengths here, Big Green. Doug, we could absolutely do call-ins. Let's do that now. I will drop it down below in the comments. Call in line. Bang. We'll do that. And you guys can join the program. We'll do your comments, questions, any thoughts on this game. I wanted to go through inactives and stuff like that first in the first little bit here, but we absolutely can do comments as well. My man, let's go out to him. Doug on the couch is first. Doug, what's going on, brother?
I low-key spammed the chat. Can we call in? I apologize. Did not mean to do that.
You are all good. You are all good.
I said this the other day on Jake's show. I think my hot take was we score more than 30 points today.
Yeah, why? Like what is giving you that feeling for today?
I think the Rodgers being around in practice gives the team a little jolt of energy. Even though he's not playing, he's there. He's in the building. He's practicing. I think that gives everyone a jolt in the locker. Like, holy shit, this guy's here. I can't believe it. He's back right now. Science makes no sense, but he's here. Second, I was telling this, my best friend's a Dolphins fan, but I was talking to him about this. You need to play the Falcons like how teams play us. Stack the box, and play man coverage. I know we don't do that a lot, but say Desmond Ritter, hey, you know what? Go beat us. If we lose with Desmond Ritter for throwing for 400 yards, I'll be like, you know what? It was just his day. Like, it happens. But I don't want to be the reason we lose because Bijan Robinson ran for like 200 yards against us, or their running game had like 250 plus yards in the ground. That can't be the reason we lose. And I just think Desmond Ritter is very interception prone. I could see Sauce's first pick today. That's another thing I could see happening against his college teammate. I could see that happening. So I think we got a defensive touchdown. And then I don't know. I just think a big Brees day with the weather the way it is. But yeah, again, so over 30 points is my hot take because of the Rodgers thing. And I just don't want to be beat by the run game because that's what all they can do. You know they can't throw the ball.
No, yeah, I don't. What do you think the number is for Ritter passing? Like 160 yards, maybe?
If that. I think he's going to put like 130, 140. And he throws a lot of picks.
He does.
He has 8, but like if you look at it, like his picks per passes, I don't know the exact number. It's high because they don't want him throwing the ball.
No, it's honestly, there's some Zach Wilson vibes there. Like he's throwing the ball 25 times a game and he's going to turn it over, which, you would think bodes well for the Jets, but I don't have that level of confidence in the offense. I think if they score 17 or more points, they should win this game.
I think we're going to get a lot of short field situations too.
Okay.
I think we're going to have a good offensive day.
All right. I hope you are right on that one because I just would like to see some points put up on the board after 5 straight games.
I just want to win a football game. I don't know if that's what to ask for, but and I saw your mock draft.
Okay.
How would you feel about Brock Bowers if the 2 linemen are
gone?
We need a tight end. Like he's just such a good player that it like screw the position. He's just that good. And I know he wasn't great the other day, but he's been banged up. But him healthy, he's like, watch that Auburn game if you haven't seen anyone take over a game like that.
Yeah, he's a special talent. Like that's not my favorite route to go, but I'm not going to sit there on draft day. And if that's the pick, I'm not going to be upset about it because this team is so bad offensively that if they're adding weapons, I'll be happy. I just don't want to see a repeat of like a defensive lineman drafted or something like that. My preference is offensive line or wide receiver, but if it was someone like a unicorn kind of player like Bowers, then I'm not going to be upset over it.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think right now, like I said, I would love either Olufashunu, I probably said the name wrong, but
close enough.
Or Joel. If those 2 are gone, the Oregon State tackle I know is the next best one.
Yep.
And then I don't think we're going to get MHJ because we're just not going to be in that position.
No.
So then you can get Roma Dunze for Washington or Malik Neighbors or Keon Coleman, one of those three receivers.
Yeah, it's just got to be
very good. The good thing is, though, I know Rodgers getting hurt sucks, but keeping our first round in this draft is good because this draft is a whole heck of a lot deeper than last year's draft.
I do agree with that. I think there's some massive talent on the board. And, if you expect some of the quarterbacks to go off early, then it's going to, slide to wherever the Jets end up picking here. But yeah, that is definitely a positive spin for this, with losing Rodgers, disappointing year, but should be a deep draft class.
Last thing, what's your 4 for the college football playoff?
Okay. So I would go Michigan, Washington, Texas, and FSU as
I agree. I agree because if Alabama goes in, Texas has to be in.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, then why play the games? Like if you're a big power conference team, just schedule cupcakes like Michigan does in September and not play anybody. So I think wins have to matter. Michigan beat them. Texas beat them head to head in Tuscaloosa by 10. And FSU, I know they're not the same team without Jordan Travis, but they went 13-0.
Yeah, I feel like that has to. If either of the 4 I just listed off doesn't get in, I think it would be FSU for Alabama, but I wouldn't agree with that. I think that would be messed up for FSU.
It's going to be, I love how I think the last 4 teams, it's like the last regular 4 playoff. It's going to be the craziest one. I love it.
Yeah.
It's going to actually have to do something.
It should be a good one. Doug, I appreciate you checking in with us. Enjoy the game today.
Go Jets.
Love it. Thank you so much to Doug for checking in with us. If you want to join the show, pinned comment, call in line. You just click the link. You get you in here. We'll go through comments, super chats, all that good stuff. Why is Gregory Stevens so upset about why are they paying Rodgers? Paying or playing? Is Aaron Rodgers playing? No, he has not been activated, Gregory. I don't know where you've been the last few weeks. He's not playing. K80 says there's a guy named Greg Rodgers out there somewhere that could probably start for us. Yeah, right. He's got to be somewhere. There's got to be a Greg Rodgers out there somewhere doing something. It's truly remarkable that the Jets are at a point where they feel comfortable enough to start Tim Boyle. I don't like Zach Wilson getting benched is not a crazy thought. The fact that they didn't have anyone else to go to other than Tim Boyle and they refused to play Trevor Siemian is just honestly hilarious. Dave, yeah, good point. We'll find out in a few minutes. Apparently at 12 o'clock is when they're going to announce this, but this would be the first time the SEC didn't have representation in the college football playoff. Yes, that would be a really big surprise. And I do think there's a world where Alabama gets in. I would just feel for FSU because they did have that season. I know they lost their quarterback, but that would stink for them, honestly. I love this comment from 7 Levels. Can we just run every time today? Is that a possibility? Yeah, just keep feeding Breece Hall in this one. Although as someone who has more than 4 Breece Hall receptions, a play on that, I would like to see him catch passes, which, by the way, can we pull that up for a second? Breece Hall, he has not been great on the ground recently. That's, obviously been well documented. But here's his numbers through the air. He's had 7 catches last week against Miami and 5 against Buffalo. He has been extremely involved in the passing attack. The yards aren't really there, at least not last week, but 47 yards through the air. They got to get him going on the ground again. That's really got to be the key. Who knows? Robert Saleh called him out in a way this week. Serendipitous Slim. Hey, Matt, I know it's hard, but are you in tank mode having a rough time watching this game? Because I'm torn. Not really. I'm in the numb category, which is a really, really crappy place to be. I don't want to just be like, hey, I am numb. Whatever happens, happens. But that's where I am. I think because this regime, in my opinion, I don't think Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, or Nathaniel Hackett are going anywhere. I don't think any of those guys are going anywhere. So they really do need to stack some wins and show some tangible signs of progress if they lose out their final 10 games for a regime that is coming back, and for most of this core, let's be honest, most of this core is also coming back. They could really use some wins, but at the same time, losses do help, with a better draft spot. So I think that's the silver lining. I'm not out here. It's not like 2020 when you knew Darnold wasn't going to be here. You knew Gase wasn't going to be here and they were going to go a different direction. And, you're rooting for the Jets to draft a quarterback. Very different circumstances. Now, I'm not at the point where I'm like, this team needs to lose games. If they do, fine. I'm not going to get spoiler, if the Jets lose today on the post game, I have a very difficult time believing I'm going to come on there and be yelling and screaming. But that's the caveat, I guess, or the positive spin. You could always positive spin it. Dave's comment really makes me laugh. Is it wrong that I think left-handed quarterbacks are gross? No, it does look weird. Like, I know we're talking some Michael Penix, I would imagine, right? But it does look weird optics wise. There's no denying it. I mean, two are throwing the ball. Lefty looks weird. You'll get Boomer Esiason, Michael Vick. I'm trying to think of lefty quarterbacks that I've seen play. There's not a ton of them, but something does look off with it. Penix, I like him. There's some injury concerns with him, but he's an extremely accurate quarterback and just makes big plays, dude. Rich, we got some positivity. Says we will beat the Falcons today. I hope Rich is correct. I hope the Jets go out there and beat the Falcons. That would be pretty freaking epic if that were the case, actually. Let's see. What do you think of J.C. Latham, left tackle from Alabama? He's expected to be a top 15 pick, and he's either third or fourth best tackle in the draft as of today. I thought he plays the right tackle. Does he not play right tackle? Yeah, here we go. Here's a clip of him. Oops, wrong tab. J.C. Latham was absolutely dominant in their win against Georgia yesterday. Clean posture and technique and pass pro all game long. Best right tackle prospect in the class. I think that's fine. I would be in on the Jets drafting him. He's probably tackle 4 for me. Coda, 1 hour. How about that? 1 hour. Two minutes until one or more head coaches yells, "Get the tables," as the CFP show is about to begin. It's coming. I have Twitter refreshing on the right-hand side because it's 11:59. So we'll know momentarily. Bina says, I'm a lefty. The problem with a lefty is you need a right tackle that's legit. That's true. Your right tackle then becomes more important than your left tackle just because of the way your quarterback is throwing the football. Okay. I have the Fox pregame show on because the Jets are on Fox today. But Charles Woodson picked the Jets as an upset. So if that's a positive that you want to toss out there. Do we get an update on? No. It is 12 o'clock. Let's see when the news officially comes out. Tony Alexio, Jets offense is in complete darkness. That's a fact. When you score 13 points or less in 5 straight games, that is the only possible explanation for this unit, is that they are in complete darkness. No lie there. Gregory chimes in and says someone could pick up Murray or Fields next year, depending on who drafts quarterbacks. Yeah, those two are two who I would think would be on the move this offseason, depending on what their teams would like to do. But they released it: Michigan, Washington, Texas, FSU. Okay, as the ESPN app. Let's see if Did I get the push notification as well? I didn't yet, but should be a good one. I think that would be a really good national championship, by the way. Or not national championship, but a good college football playoff is those four teams. Dakota wants to see Michigan to the national championship. My girlfriend's dad's a big Michigan fan, and one of my best friends is a Michigan fan. So I wouldn't be totally upset with that. It was the first article on the ticker. Okay. I don't know if that was a projection or if that's what it actually was. It very well could be. I was just kind of waiting for it to come through right here. How about this? Well, let's watch as we wait for that to come through. Let's watch Garrett Wilson run some routes pregame. Hopefully he gets the football in his hands. He's too talented not to. And the rain's still coming down at MetLife Stadium. Honestly, the weather today and that stupid field at MetLife Stadium is scaring me a little bit. I don't love either of those two. Hawk in the chat. What's going on, Hawk? How are you, good friend? He says, odds we see Simeon in this game. I would like to see the Jets go to him, but I am not all that confident that they will. I think they don't really like Trevor Siemian. I think they would have been elevated weeks ago if they did. But I also have very little faith in Tim Boyle. So unfortunately, I think we're in for an ugly slop fest kind of a game here. Does Wilson get traded or cut this offseason, or the Jets hold on for one more year? I think he's gone. I think he will be released. And the Jets will bring in a veteran backup quarterback behind Aaron Rodgers and draft a quarterback at some point. I don't think the first round. I think somewhere in the 3rd to 5th round, they will take a quarterback. Yeah, respect to anyone who is out there today. This comment says the weather is horrendous. It is. It's absolutely awful. I just don't know how there are people out there going to sit through a tailgate and then sit through a game to watch Desmond Ridder and Tim Boyle go at it. And Johnny chimes in with another great take here. Thank God this is a 1 p.m. game. Could you imagine waiting around to 4 o'clock for this? I missed the 1 o'clocks. I'm glad that the 1 o'clock games are back, and they have a few more 1 o'clocks too coming up. For this one, I would like to see. I believe next week is also a 1 o'clock against Houston. I know they have a Thursday night game, which is not my favorite, but we'll pull it up. They got 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 8:15 TBD, but that should be a 1 o'clock game as well. So we should close out with a string of 1 o'clock games, which is going to make me very happy. Brian says Izzy goes off today. I would like to see them get some Izzy Abanikanda love. I think it's absolutely at this point, when you're 4-7, like, why not get your young guys involved? I would like to see Izzy. What does he have? 1 carry in the 2 games? He can't get on the field because he can't pass protect, allegedly. But I don't know if anyone's watched Dalvin Cook pass protect this year. Hasn't been pretty. Has not been pretty. Yeah, Hawk says it feels like almost every game we're playing in severe weather conditions. LOL. Like, come on, God. Yeah, this season, man, it's been something. The first game of the year, wet field. The Patriots game was a sloppy one. The one that I went to was pretty nice, actually, weather-wise, for early November. Jets Chargers, a night game. It was pretty comfortable. It wasn't too cold. There wasn't any rain, but they played like shit. Oh, God. Being to say we usually do play well in the rain. If you point to the Jets Bears from last year, that was a rain game. So that's a positive spin. Ali says, you think the Jets will change their field to grass after the Rodgers injury in week 1? They should. I don't think that they will. The Jets and Giants have to agree on it because they share the stadium. And they have the funds, right? 2 owners, you would think between the 2 of them, they have an opportunity where they could do it, but I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Venus says, I heard they won't change the turf because the other events at MetLife for some BS, plus the New York Giants would have to agree. Yeah, that's kind of right. Like what we just said there, the Giants would have to agree with it, but also, like, come on, figure it out. There's other stadiums around the league that host concerts and other events with grass, and they find a way to figure it out. Apparently, for those Jets Mets fans out there, Jeff McNeil is at the game and taking pictures with the fans. Love that for Jeff. Whew, excuse me. Empire says, that's true. It's slightly better than this fake turf. It's the ground up tires, the wet carpets, man. And when wet, it's horrendous and dangerous. I got in an argument with a member of the company of those fields. Yeah, I would imagine that they would want to defend their own product, right? Like they have no, they want that to work, but if it don't work, it don't work, unfortunately. Rich, thank you, sir. Hit the like button. If you're in here hanging out and you like what you see, drop a like on the video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, gets us in front of more people. So yeah, drop a like. Appreciate it. Dice, the Jets will never change the field to grass. Real grass costs money to maintain with employees and workman's comp issues where every employee's got it on the grounds crew. Well, it's the Jets and the Giants that would have to do it, by the way. It's both the Jets and the Giants that would have to come to an agreement on it. Jets beat reporter Antoine Staley says they're going to drag this out to the 1 o'clock kickoffs. I'll flip this back to, no. 36 is ESPN. It's 12:09. They still haven't shown rather the reveal. Apparently that's coming up next, but they haven't revealed who the teams are going to be yet. Haskell, I still want to see Dalvin go off, and if he has the hot hand over Brees, they need to use him more. A few weeks ago, Brees had a rough game, but Cook had like 4 runs for 30 yards. Yeah, his best game was probably, if I had to guess, that Raiders game. But this is a great quote, and I'm using great loosely. Via Pro Football Talk, Jets running back Dalvin Cook is frustrated, but he says he won't ask for more touches and he won't ask to be released. Well, on the season, Dalvin Cook, his numbers are as followed. He had 1 carry for 2 yards against Miami, 2 for 13, 4 for 26 against the Raiders. He was a little bit better in that game. But on the season, he is averaging, 3.5 yards a carry? 3.2 yards a carry. He's shown signs of decline last year in Minnesota. That's why they moved on from him at that price point. And he's a 28-year-old running back who, on 50 carries, has 162 yards and no touchdowns. I'd rather see Izzy, but I don't know if they're going to do that, to be completely honest with you. Ali says, first, Jets should cut Zach Wilson, then do a trade swap with the Bears for the first overall pick, and they take the left tackle from Penn State and also get Justin Fields to sit down behind Rodgers for 1 to 2 years. I don't think they would do that. Justin Fields is due a new – you're not picking up Justin Fields' fifth-year option, and he would be a free agent after that 1 year. So I don't think they would trade for Justin Fields, number one. And then number two, like they passed on him in the draft, this regime did. They're then going to trade for him. That would be terrible optics. Okay, by the way, the USA Today has a coaches poll out where it's Michigan, Washington, Florida State, and Texas and Alabama tied at 4. So it feels like it's going to come down to one of those two teams. According to ESPN Analytics, no, they're not. They're comparing Georgia, Florida State, Alabama, and Texas. Michigan and Washington are the locks. From the 3 and 4 are the where things could get a little nuts here. But I would do Florida State and Texas personally. Gator, what's going on, man? Hey, Matt O'Leary, happy game day. Can you review the best case day for the Jets to win plus wins, losses by for playoff percentages to go up? All right, let's pull up. If you want the Jets to have playoff contention, let's do that for Gator. We love Gator. Here we go. So for this one, you would like to see New England beat in the upper left-hand side. New England beat the Chargers. You would need the Jets to win. Obviously, this game, 2 NFC teams doesn't matter. Arizona would have to upset Pittsburgh. In this one, I would assume Tennessee beating Indianapolis would be helpful. Washington beating Miami would be helpful. These two games, Denver winning would be more important because the Jets have the tiebreaker over Denver because they beat them head-to-head, and they still have Houston left to play. So I think that's who you would root for there. NFC game doesn't really matter there. I almost said the Chargers. The Rams beating Cleveland would be a plus. Philadelphia and San Francisco, 2 NFC teams, doesn't matter. KC's run away with that division, so that doesn't really matter. Jacksonville over Cincinnati is what you would want there. And that's it. That's all the games. So Jacksonville over Cincinnati, because Jacksonville has the AFC South pretty much locked up. You'd want the Rams over Cleveland. Here, I would think you'd want Denver because you have the head-to-head win. Washington over Miami. Tennessee over Indy. Arizona over Pittsburgh. Jets obviously have to win. And New England over the Chargers. Those are your hopes for today. Luis B says, out of the Rodgers free agent signings, who do we keep and who do we get rid of? I honestly want them all gone. Cobb is gone. Billy Turner is gone. Dalvin Cook is gone. Alan Lazard will still be here. And am I missing anybody else? No, I don't think so. I think I understand Alan Lazard's money just doesn't make sense to move off of just yet. If you pull up his contract, you can get out of it after next season. You can't get out of it after this, before this upcoming season. So Cobb, Billy Turner, Dalvin Cook, those 3 I would say would be gone. And Tim Boyle. Thank you. Ali chimes in, and maybe Tim Boyle. Yeah, I would hope Tim Boyle goes. Billy Turnstile is a hilarious nickname. It is, and it's very accurate. He is inactive today, by the way. Thank goodness that Billy Turner is inactive and not a part of the Jets starting 5. If you would like to see the Jets starting 5 for if you'd like to see the actives and inactives for this game, we'll pop those back up on your screen here. Randall Cobb, Billy Turner, Austin DeCulius, Zaire Barnes, Carl Lawson, Bryce Hall, and Zach Wilson as the emergency quarterback. Mekhi Becton is back in. The offensive line from left to right, you have Mekhi Becton, left tackle, Laken Tomlinson, left guard, Joe Tippmann at center. Right guard is Wes Schweitzer. Right tackle is Carter Warren. Carter Warren's done a pretty nice job at left tackle the last few weeks. They're going to give him a look over Max Mitchell, who's really, really struggled, especially in pass protection in this game. Yeah, this is kind of where I'm at, Antonio, as well. He says Lazard would be okay if he was wide receiver 3 and Rodgers played the entire season. Yeah, if assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to come back next year, Garrett Wilson, either a veteran wide receiver or a wide receiver in the first round as wide receiver 2. Alan Lazard, wide receiver 3, and then they probably need another vet in there somewhere too. No, Brown's healthy. They just aren't playing him, KJ. I don't think he would be a part of the starting 5. He can only play left tackle, and Mekhi Becton has been significantly better at left tackle this year, and they like what they're seeing out of Carter Warren. So I think, if there was an injury, if God forbid Mekhi Becton or Carter Warren goes down, I think there's a world where Brown comes in and plays left tackle, and either Warren stays at right tackle or Mekhi Becton moves over to the right side. Yeah, this is a bummer about Carl Lawson, right? Like, I was a really big fan of him, but just a really, really, really tough game there. With so many quarterbacks in the draft, plus Murray Fields could be a very good year to find the quarterback. Yeah, they could. There's of the quarterback rankings for 2024. I'm not team take a quarterback in the first round. I would look maybe in that 3rd to 4th round range. I think Quinn Ewers is going back to school. That's someone who I would potentially be interested in, but like Michael Pratt out of Tulane, that's probably someone you could find in the 3rd round who's a little bit of a developmental guy. MVS is wide receiver 4. Oof, I hope not. He's been a drop machine. He has absolutely been a drop machine for Kansas City. I'm all good there. Let's go a different direction. Jesse says, I was hoping Matt was playing tight end for us today. Yeah, I mean, if you need a slow possession receiver, I'm your guy. Matthew says, I think Cardinals stick with Murray and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. That is absolutely a possibility. They absolutely could do that in this game. Would not be the most surprising thing in the world. Odds that Woody Johnson decides not to extend the contract at the world's largest air conditioning unit for $1.2 billion that is already at down need to get back to Long Island. I would love that selfishly as a Long Islander. I don't think they would do that, unfortunately. I think they're going to stick with where they are. And here we go. Look at this. We got video of Jeff McNeil out there on the field. Little Mets-Jets collab. Speaking of coming back to Long Island and Queens area, some Mets-Jets collab. Yeah, KJ says, what do you think of comments by Lazard? He never took responsibility for his poor performance. No, I didn't think it was handled very well. I do agree with that. It's unfortunate. I think we saw younger guys handle it much better. I think Breece Hall handled his situation better. I think Garrett Wilson handled his situation better. It's unfortunate to see a guy like Alan Lazard really not take that full responsibility. Oh, we got the Mets and Yankee fans going back at it. Mets suck. Yankees suck, says Explosive Diarrhea. Fast Life Entertainment. Bad weather game smells like trouble. If you like low-scoring games, here you go. First team to 10 points wins. Jets haven't scored over 13 points since they played the Eagles before their bye. And the Falcons with Desmond Ridder. I think Ritter's going to turn the ball over in this game a couple of times. He had 2 interceptions last week, if I'm not mistaken. I could pull up his numbers and take a look. Desmond Ridder. Yep, 2 picks against Atlanta on just 21 passes. Against Tampa Bay, 19 of 25, 250 yards. That was a better game of him, but before that, 3 picks. Had a pretty good game against Houston. 2 picks. He'll turn the ball over. 8 interceptions in 9 starts. I don't know. I think that's what I would be looking for, is creating turnovers on this defense. I think that's the recipe for success for this Jets team. And this is also true. Like Dakota says, Mets and Yankees both suck. They were both bad last year. Both bad teams last year. Jigaman says, Maddie, what's going on, Jigaman? Hope you're doing well. Staying dry for this game. We are both team go numb when watching the New York Jets. They're still dragging out this selection show, right? They haven't announced yet. I bet by the time I hop off at 12:30, because we got Green Bean. I'll be on with him at halftime. So if you don't know, Green Bean, the Jets fan, I will be there at halftime. Myself, Ryan, and also we can't forget Jeremy, the legend. Matthew says if there's a game where the Jets can shut out an opponent, it would be this one. Yeah, this feels like the one. Oh, here we go. They're naming some. Michigan's the number one, right? Okay, we're getting the rankings coming now. Okay, Michigan's at 1. Here we go. They're doing it on. I got the TV on, so I'm reacting to that. I don't know if they actually did it on. If it's been announced on Twitter yet. I mean, that would probably. Oh, nope. Sports Center. They just tweeted it out. Here we go. Michigan, number 1. No surprise there. They are the number 1 team in the country. Who's the number 2? Got to think Washington, right? Washington, correct. 13-0 Washington. Mike Cooper, what an awful year to be a Jets fan. It's been unfortunate. High expectations, injuries take this thing off the rails, and there you go. James says we want Denver to win because William says hopes CJ beats Denver today. I think we want Denver to win that game because the Jets have the tiebreaker because they won the head-to-head already where they still have Houston, and hopefully they would beat Houston next week. But they have to also take care of business themselves because the Jets got some help the last few weeks, but did not. They've lost all 4 games they played. Hey, Texas makes it at 3. Thank God Texas made it at 3. So who's 4? FSU? They're going nuts in Austin right now on ESPN. Good for them. KJ says if Florida State doesn't make it, I'll be shocked. Number 3 is Texas. Hook 'em, baby. All right, let's go out to. We got another caller on the line. We'll go out to Bernard, the Packers fan. Bernard, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Matt. I'm as you know, I'm a Packers fan. But since Rodgers went to the Jets, the Jets start becoming my second favorite team because of him. So
Nice.
so since he went to the Jets, I've been following you. You'll probably see me on Jake's Assman show a couple of times, and I've been following Green Bean, and I've been following Boy Paul Green, and I just want to say that I got a ton of respect for y'all for your channel, and y'all are great Jets content creators.
Thank you, Bernard. I appreciate that. Are you going to be watching this Jets game today before your Packers play tonight?
I mean, it's kind of hard when it's Tim Boyle out there. You know what I mean? If it was Rodgers or, then I would definitely, because it'd be more exciting. But I mean, I'm gonna watch because I'm gonna, because it's just to be interested. But yeah, man. I mean, with Tim Boyle out there, I mean, hopefully it can be a good game, but we'll see.
Yeah, my confidence isn't all that high, especially for this offense because of just how bad that they've struggled here. But yeah, I appreciate your support. Really means a lot, and we've gotten a lot of nice Packers fans coming over here in the Aaron Rodgers era. So I appreciate that, Bernard. Thank you for checking in with us.
Yeah, and I just want to just give you a couple of questions.
Sure.
One, do you think Rodgers? Now it came out today that Rodgers might not play this year because the Jets are out of playoff contention. But do you think if they're out of playoff contention, do you think he's still going to come back just to prove a point?
I don't think so. There was a report earlier today from Ian Rappaport saying that it's unlikely for him to come back if the Jets are out of it. And that kind of makes sense. I see that. Like, a part of me would love to just see him come out and play to, get what this offense could look like next year. But I understand not wanting to risk it.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that he's out there practicing, jogging around, and all that stuff. So even if he doesn't come back this year, I think that's a big positive because come the offseason and training camp, he'd be 110% ready. You know what I mean? So hopefully you won't have no doubts going into next year. But do you think that a lot of people have some concerns about him being 40, coming off an Achilles? Do you think that how you think he's gonna be next year? Do you think he'll still be a top 10 quarterback, or do you think he might slip a little bit?
No, I think he'll still be. I still think he'll be solid. A positive spin for this is his body hasn't taken any hits this year. Like, yeah, it stinks that he tore his Achilles, but he didn't take any really massive hits, and he's not going to be banged up that way. I think the arm's still going to be good. He's obviously an incredibly smart player, which is going to help him as well. But I'm not really all that concerned because I think he'll have a ton of time to recover from this thing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him back out there.
Yeah. And and then one more question before I head out. Do you think do you think he's injury prone, or do you think he's I'm talking about for his career? Do you think he's injury prone, or do you think he's what's your thought on his injury history?
Not really. This is the first time he's missed games due to injury, and I believe it's been 5 years. So I wouldn't call him injury prone. I think this is kind of just a fluky play that happened, unfortunately, and it's a shame that he got hurt, but I expect him back next year. But I wouldn't call him an injury prone player.
And then one last question. I'm gonna put you on a hot spot. Even though he hasn't played a single snap yet, do you think for as a Jet quarterback, would you still take Rodgers or Joe Namath?
I'm gonna have to go Joe Namath. I love Aaron Rodgers. Is definitely, I would say, he's a more talented player, but what Joe Namath did for this franchise and for the NFL too, it really helped the merger between the AFL and the NFL. So Joe Namath number one, but still Aaron Rodgers is gonna have a special place in our hearts as well.
All right, man. It was good talking to you, and good luck.
There we go. Thank you, Bernard. I appreciate you calling in. So we'll say goodbye to Bernard. And yeah, so we have the final CFP rankings, by the way. College football playoff rankings. We'll pop this up on the screen. Was very surprised to see Alabama at number 4. No FSU. That's a bummer. No Florida State. It's Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama as the top 4 teams. Michigan versus Alabama and Washington versus Texas. Should be a couple of good games. Again, I feel for FSU. I would have put them in there. As our first caller, Doug, was saying, if Alabama's going in, then Texas absolutely has to go in. Unfortunately, FSU is on the outside looking in. I think they missed that one up. I would have put FSU in there at some point, but it is what it is, unfortunately. We got time for a few more questions before we hop out of here. Green Bean's going to be going live in a little bit, so we'll hand it off to him. But here we go. There's some Mets and Jets are Mets and Yankees rather arguing in the chat, but yeah, that's how you know things are not going ideal. Empire says LGI. Let's go Isles. Don't forget the Islanders. Yeah, at least look, the hockey teams have been carrying it for New York sports recently. You know, Islanders, Devils, Rangers, all three teams in the playoffs last year. Rangers are like the best team in the NHL right now. Islanders are in a playoff spot finally. And Devils outside looking in, but they're a talented young team. Antonio says, I feel they took out FSU due to losing their starting quarterback. I do think that played a big role in it. That really stinks. It's unfortunate that they held that against them, but yeah, I think, these 4 teams, it should be, I think any of these 4 teams has a shot. I mean, if you're looking at the odds to win now, if you pull that up, I'm going to minimize your comment, Antonio, just so we get all the odds in here. Michigan's the favorite at plus 115. Then you have Alabama and Texas are plus 300. And Washington is plus 700 to win the championship. So, I think I think you can make a case for any of these 4 teams winning the championship this year. Should be cool. Yeah, I want FSU in. We've seen enough of the SEC, says Ant Jets. I get that. Empire says huge wins, bro. I've been focused on the Jets and Islanders. There we go. Yeah, I still following along with those Islanders. Big win last night over the Florida Panthers, which was a welcome surprise. Wins over the Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Very, very not expected for this Islanders team. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me on this pregame. Make sure to head over to Green Bean. I'll be live with him at halftime. Enjoy the game today. Hopefully, we're talking about a New York Jets win. Subscribe before you go. Leave a like before you go, and I'll catch you next time.